Good to see you today. Thanks for talking to me. And again, if you guys should know me, I'm Ryan with the Harvey Historical Society, and I also have a group on Facebook called Chicago Southland Politics. Free Speech Zone, because Dalton Politics and some other Southland groups, we've had problems with people getting kicked out and censored. So again, I want to be able to allow people to get their own stories out. So today I have this lovely lady from Lynwood. So she's going to tell us about herself. So yeah, just tell us your name and tell us what brought you to Lynwood and what your interest is in Lynwood.
Hi, so I'm Rolanda Clark. I am a current trustee here in Lynwood. I live here in Lynwood, of course. I came to Lynwood in the 2012, 13, I think it was. And I was looking for an area that had good, clean water because I'm an environmentalist, good, clean water, safe housing, and just a nice, loving place to live. And Linwood is a loving place to live, friendly place to live. Our water is so far safe. We have a wonderful water commissioner, well, not commissioner, but our water director, Sam, is wonderful about getting our water tested. So that's a good thing.
Okay, awesome. And then, so tell us basically what do you think is working well in Lynwood? Like what's happening that you're happy with?
So what worked well that I was happy with here was that our taxes were low, but that is changing. What worked well is, like I said, the community and the events that we had that people came to. I mean, we're almost like a village. You know how the village, they used to say it takes a village to raise a child, and we're that loving community. And that's one of the things I liked about it. I like now that we have a wonderful police force. They are definitely into diversity and equity and inclusion. What else?
Oh, have you, basically we know the April 1st elections are coming up, so we have a whole bunch of people running. So tell us what you're running for, who you're supporting, and basically, who you feel in Lynwood is helping the people and who you feel is not helping the people.
Okay, so actually, election is going on now. Early voting here in Lynwood started February 10th.
Oh, I'm sorry, so you guys have primaries?
We have
You're doing the
primaries.
primary. Okay, so sorry, I forgot they have primaries.
That's okay.
So, yeah, can you tell us who's running in the primary or how that works?
Primary, my old team that I ran with, who's the current mayor, Jada Curry, trustee David Lilly, and Blakey, Randall Blakey, and I ran with them. We ran on a ticket of truth and transparency and trust, and that we wouldn't raise taxes. We even had a meeting where someone asked the mayor if she would raise taxes, and she said no. And yet there was 3 separate ordinances in raising the tax levy. Cook County raised taxes in the south suburbs as well. Yes, they did. But they don't come to your village and tell you to write another ordinance to raise that. That comes from within.
So you're saying the current mayor, Jada Curry, she voted along with with the majority of the trustees to raise your taxes?
She doesn't vote. She puts the vote forward for the trustees. Of course, there's supposed to be a public notice. So she'll put it in for public notice on this week, and then 2 weeks later, the public is supposed to come out and vote on it. But they really don't get that information. You know how you go to other suburbs and you see signs that says public notice or public hearing is happening this day? We don't have those signs. We have signs for our Lynwood parties, our Oktoberfest, and things like that, which are wonderful events, but not for the public, and it should be there. One would say that our meetings are on YouTube, but a lot of people are not on those YouTube channels. So there are other ways to get it out. For example, we get things out about water main breaks through Nixle. We get things out about other things like, say, for example, we're going to get so much snow. Yeah, you can even tell people on Nixle that we're going to have that public hearing.
Okay, so in other words, it's like the village. It sounds like you're saying the village has a way to inform people about what's going on, but the mayor and those. I mean, how many people does she have voting with her? Does she have a majority on the council? Okay, so the mayor with her majority on the board, they're not being transparent. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, and I'm not going to say they all know everything too, because there was a instance where I asked her, "Is this going to raise our taxes?" And she told me no. And I said, but it sounds like it. And she told me to talk to the finance person. And the finance person told me something else. But when our attorney came, I asked him, I said, Attorney Dan, is this going to raise our taxes? And he goes, yes, it is. So I'm like, I'm a trustee. I need transparency too. Yeah. So they'll say something like, oh, well, we gave you the information. You're supposed to get it before you come to the meeting. Okay, so if I get this information that says this ordinance has been put to raise the levy, but there's no percentage in what my paperwork says, how am I going to know what the percentage is? Yeah.
So they're saying you get it in the packets before the meeting, but the complete information is not there.
Yes.
Okay.
That detailed information is not. It's just other things that are not transparent. For example, you go to one meeting and people are questioning her salary and how your salary says that you're getting anywhere between 20 and 35,000, but you're reporting to the Illinois Retirement Fund that you're getting 80s and 90,000. So people are like, where's the extra money? So you'll have a meeting over here and you're saying, well, I'm the treasurer and the tax collector, but IML says the tax collector should be the clerk. So why are you getting a salary for what the clerk should be? And if you're a treasurer, why do we have a finance person? Aren't those two of the same jobs? Yeah, and then
Is your treasurer elected?
no.
Okay, it's appointed because I know it's like in Harvey we have an aldermanic form of government. It's a little different. So you guys, the mayor chooses your treasurer.
Yeah,
Is that right?
She chose herself.
Okay. So the mayor also chose to be treasurer. Now, I was going to ask you about that because that's what I saw on social media. Someone sent me that video where there was someone during public comment during one of the recent Lynwood meetings, I believe, asking the mayor about her salary. And she said something like, well, I'll speak to you in private or something. Is that right?
Yes. And so that tabling things happens a lot. But yet when you have your special little group meetings, in those meetings, you're explaining it away. You're like, I'm the treasurer and I have many hats and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And we're like, okay, if you have those hats, then can you show us a line by line item of what you're doing for those hats? What are the work you're doing for that hat? Can you account for the works that you're doing for those salaries? We know that most mayors in the south suburbs are the liquor license commissioners, and they get a fee for that. Well, the fee here went from $4,200 all the way up to $10,000, but yet we have not opened another liquor store or another bar. It's about the same. So why is that fee going up exponentially? I don't know. There's a fee for the cannabis dispensary, and that was written in. I can't attest to if she is actually getting that whole $10,000 since the store hasn't opened up yet or not. But again, we need to find out if you're saying you're the treasurer, if you're saying you're the collector, if you're the liquor commissioners, are you writing down, or is there a way to find out how many hours you put towards the commissioner, how many hours you put toward tax collecting, how many hours you put toward being a treasurer, and in addition to all the hours you're doing as a mayor? So my thing is, you hired yourself a personal assistant. Well, you've had 4 in the last 4 years. I don't know how to count for 4 different assistants in the last 4 years.
So high turnover.
High turnover. There you go. And even on the inside, that when we got in, the turnover is just there. People have issues, yes, family issues or whatever. But sometimes it's a little suspicious with this high turnover rate. Yeah.
And have you guys had conflicts like we've seen in Dalton or Harvey or some of the other towns as far as actually in the meetings where has the mayor, tried to silence anyone or have anyone removed? How do your meetings generally go?
Well, okay, again, most of those people, they've grown up together with her. They were on the school board with her, so they know each other. I'm pretty much the odd man out. And I'm a peaceful person. I used to get bullied in the meetings, and I told her about that. I'm not going to take this stuff from some of you and your people because it shouldn't be that way.
And what did they do to bully you? Tell us.
Well, just the attitudes. And like one day I was answering the phone and someone shouted, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm answering the phone." Things like that. I will tell you the story, and I'll tell you this off record, and you'll see if you want to talk about that, because to me it was just kind of horrifying for me. In which after that I called them a bunch of monsters, because that's the way I felt at the time.
Don't be shy. Tell us.
Don't be shy.
We need to get the truth out there. That's what I want people to know, what's really going on.
So there was a time that we went away on a trip, right? And we had to switch hotels, and at the last minute, we went from one hotel to the other one, but we had to be at this thing at a certain time. So I hurried up and put my luggage in. Well, they keep it before you get, because your room is not ready, and they keep the luggage on the side for you. I left my phone in my purse, right? So I had no cash, I had no phone. Well, we went away. We took our car and we went to this thing, and we were in this museum, and I had to run and use the bathroom. When I came back, they were all gone, and I'm like, where did they go? And I'm running around this museum looking for them, and just by chance and God, I saw out of a window way down there that they were outside, and they're walking away from the building, and they left me. They just left me. And I already told the clerk that I didn't have my purse or my phone. So she knew that. If she said she doesn't, she knew it. So when I caught up to him, I'm like, you guys just left me? We looked for you. I said, no, you didn't. I had to go to the bathroom. You just walked out the building. You could have waited at any gate. You could have did like they do when a child is missing. Get on that microphone and say, hey, we're here at this door for you. But you guys left me, and I didn't have any ways of getting back to the hotel. And I was like, thank God I found you, because you all weren't stopping. You were just walking. I literally had to run on my bad knees to catch up with them.
Oh, wow. And do you have any allies on the board, people that are willing to stand with you?
No.
Okay, so currently it's just you. But tell us about the slate that's running, because you guys have a full slate, right?
So again, I've always told her I was going to run again because I want to do good for Lynwood. And as I was running, I would say probably somewhere around the time we were doing our petition circulation, people were like, hey, do you know this person is running for mayor and this person is running for a trustee? I'm like, oh, who are they? Let me get in touch with them. And I found out about this team. And when we started talking, we realized we had a shared value of actually doing good things for Lynwood instead of raising taxes and giving raising our salaries and doing some other things where, this payroll, we don't know who's on the payroll and who's getting this person and what he's doing and what is that little person doing there. You know what I mean? So I got together with them and had a meeting, and it's called the Lynwood Choice Team. We're the better choice. We all have, and it's funny because a lot of us are nurses, right?
Oh,
yeah, that's shared, So it was like, oh my God. This community has a lot of nurses in this community.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us the names of the slate that is running.
So our Lynwood Choice Team consists of Dr. Tanya Armstrong for mayor, Linda Miller for trustee, Jacqueline McGee for trustee, and myself, Rolanda Clark, for re-election into the trustee spot. Now, this team, we have some wonderful ideas. This particular mayor is, when she gets in office, she says she's going to roll back the salary of the mayor because the current mayor increased it, and she's going to roll it back. And then she says she's going to even donate some of her mayor's salary to some things here in Lynwood. And I think that's a good idea because Lynwood is only like, I don't know if we're over the 10,000 mark yet, but it's a small community. Do you need to make that much money off the small community? I don't know.
That was another question I had. So do you get a lot of people coming, or any residents at all coming to meetings that are, asking questions? Are they upset? Are they just like, hey, what's going on with our money?
We had a few lately, but again, because there's no transparency on our website, no one questions it because no one knows what to look for, where to find it. But then you have those wonderful group of individual Lynwoodians that will take the time to research and say, hey, what about this and this and that and the other? And then they'll bring those questions to her. They actually did this in our last meeting on Tuesday. And they didn't get anywhere with the answer. So.
And that was where I saw the footage where they were asking her about why her salary was so high compared to what the village was saying her salary was.
Yeah, and I was kind of shocked because what I heard from other people who went to some of her meetings, she was explaining her salary. So if you explained it weeks before, why wouldn't you explain it on that day? And then there was an instance where one of her biggest supporter, Alvin Clark, his mom passed. She gave condolences to one of the persons running with her, grandmother, condolences to him and his grandmother, but yet she didn't do that for one of her biggest supporter, Alvin Clark. Wow.
And also, we heard, or I just saw on social media recently, that supposedly the Curry slate put, and what was her name again, Dr. Tanya? What's her last name?
Armstrong.
Armstrong. Okay. Dr. Armstrong's husband is on the campaign literature,
That is my husband.
or your husband?
That is my husband, Alvin Clark.
Okay,
So
because I saw a post and I'm like, oh, I've seen a lot of stuff, but I've never seen someone say our opponent is taking my spouse's name and putting it on the campaign literature. So
this
what
is
happened?
So last year, months ago, many months ago, I shared with her that my husband's personality and his emotions are changing, and I think he may have Alzheimer's because he's, being really angry and some things like that. And I asked her to pray for me, right? And she said, "Yeah, I will," because she's always praying, and we've got other people on the board that prays, and prayer is always good, right? So, needless to say, when I found out this information, I was really taken aback because in 4 years, you guys have not gotten in a relationship with my husband or called him. And now that he's going through it and his mother died, you put him on this flyer instead of letting him rest. And you put him on this flyer saying that he's a big, at the top. If you're at the top, that means you're the top supporter, correct? So you're at the top for that. Again, when I explained that he was doing that, I told her his sisters are helping me with him because there's this issue of making sure that he gets his testing, which of course he's refusing and things like that, and just the weird things that he's doing.
And do you know if did the mayor or her team or that slate did they approach your husband then and ask him to say, hey, would you be on this flyer to support our slate? Do you know what happened?
I don't know if they asked him to be on the flyer. What I do know is that there was a text that asked him from one of the trustees, Lily, asked him in a text, "Would you support our campaign?" And he said yes. And I was really hurt by that because I'm like, we were going to his mother's funeral that morning. That morning, his phone kept ringing. And I said, "Alvin, honey, your phone keeps ringing. It's your sister Zandra." He says, "Answer the phone and tell her we're going to leave and we're going to pick her up now." And that's when I saw the text from David Lilly. So I asked him about it later, and he just brushed me off. But then I see this flyer come out, and I'm like, wow, Alvin Clark, you're supporting them, but yet you haven't paid your half of the mortgage in this house for the last 14 months, but you're supporting them? So, yeah, we've got some things going on. Yeah.
I was gonna say that was a new one. I'd never heard of that, so I'm like, oh, we have to ask about this one. And then, would you tell us a story of this building? So we're in a building that's right next to the village hall. So what is this building about, and what's happened?
So this building they call it L now. It was the old senior youth center. In the last meeting, we were told that this place was renovated and is ready to be rented.
Yeah, and as we see, we have there's some ceiling panels that are open here. The windows are dirty. We have the screens on the floor here. So it definitely does not look in ready condition. Now, has anyone asked the mayor about this, and have they given an answer as to what's happening here?
Well, I think because no one's probably rented it or asked to renovate it because we were told it was being renovated, and we were told that several times. But just in this last meeting, the person over Parks and Recreation said that it was ready to be rented. So maybe it's the downstairs where they're doing some other things, and maybe not here. But I would think if you're going to have a place that's ready to be rented, you would have electrical plates over those, because if someone comes up here, it could be a hazard.
Right, right. And things would look clean. They'd be in order. There wouldn't be scuff marks all over the wall. And then, oh, tell us the story. So this was owned by Lynwood, but then you said it was sold to one of the mayor's friends?
I was introduced to this person who owned this by their friend. Then I was told, I don't know what happened between the time that they took this place over and they were giving many parties in this place. Then all of a sudden, we're in a lawsuit against them about this place. But now we have it back, so.
Okay, so at least it's owned by the people again. What would let's see, well, you told us basically your slate, that you're supporting, you guys feel like you're for the people. What other changes would you like to make, you and the slate that's running to make Lynwood more transparent, more accountable to the people?
So, of course, again, we're going to fashion ourselves out of some of the suburbs who actually are doing that. Frankfurt, Orland Park, those things. They have the transparency up there. You can do it. All you have to do is just put that information there. You should have it if you're making your finances every day. All you do is just copy it, make a link, put it on there, right? We're going to do other things like teach people how to appeal their taxes with the Board of Reviews so that they can keep their tax assessments low and keep that low. Also, make sure that when people move into Lynwood, because you'd be surprised, people will buy a house and don't even know they can get a homeowner's exemption. And there are some seniors that may not even know that they can get a senior exemption. So we're going to do classes to tell them things like that, right? We're still going to have the parties that they like, our Oktoberfest, the Lynwood Fest. We're still going to have the Lindinia, things like that, because people love that. You need a downtime and some relaxation to get the stress off your back, and you know what I mean? So we're still going to have that. And we're just going to make Lynwood the loving community that it is and keep that love growing strong.
Oh, that's good. That's a nice positive vibe for the community. Have you had any issues either with positive things or negative things to say about other politicians, like let's say state reps or senators, federal reps or senators, where if you've had any complaints, let's say about transparency, where they have either stepped in to help be supportive, or they have not been supportive, or they've just ignored you? Have you had any issues with sort of outside politicians at all, or has that not been a thing here?
Well, Donna Miller has been a positive support here in our village, and going to some of the functions with Robin Kelly, Congresswoman, she's been supportive. I've even reached out to Danny. Oh my God, well, I can't think. I was going to say Danny Glover, the actor, but not him. Danny Davis, congressman, but he's over in Chicago. Because when I was trying to learn things to do, they'll teach you and send you places and get information for you. And I kind of like that about those politicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, as a plug for Harvey too, we've asked for help many times from the Cook County Board, and even though Donna Miller is not our commissioner, shout out to you, Donna. She has always at least tried to help. So she will text back, she'll call, and that is rare for at least in our area for our politicians. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, we talked about this building. What would you want people to take away from Lynwood as far as what do you think it's important that people know about your village?
What's important to know about this village is it is a safe, growing community. We have a large amount of elderly here in the village, and we're having more young folks come in. And I want those young folks to know that this, like the elderly that's here now, this is a place to grow old and keep as your home. That's what I want them to know.
Oh, thank you. And how are things with the business community here? Do you have a large successful business community? Is it hard to attract businesses? Is it easy? How do you feel the business community is doing in Lynwood?
So we still have land, and we can attract more. We have attracted some. Dunkin' Donuts came. Of course, the cannabis spot came. There's a talk about the equestrian park. It's been going on. That talk has been going on for years, so I'm not confident if it's going to come or not. There was talk about the Bears having this, a training facility out here. But as I did my research, I realized that wasn't going to happen, because in order for you to have that big facility, you have to have hotels like right around close by and things like that. And we don't have that kind of infrastructure. So, but we can attract more businesses. We have, it's as they call it, a boutique grocery store, but a lot of the residents aren't really happy with that grocery store. They want a bigger grocery store. You know what I mean? So there are companies out there that will vet companies for you, let them know you're a good fit, and bring it in. We just have to keep doing that.
And how do you feel Mayor Curry has done on that as far as recruiting new businesses?
So she's recruited 2 new ones. That's fair to me.
And she's been for 4 years, you said?
4 years.
Just 4 years. Okay. Okay.